Stephen A. Smith, I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be spending Saturday nights in August watching the Cleveland Browns play exhibition football. But I watched every snap that Brian Hoyer played with the first team, and I watched every snap, you know I did, watching Johnny Manziel playing with the backups. And what did my eye test tell me? The Cleveland Browns clearly will win more football games with Johnny Manziel as their starting quarterback. Now, this is, again, my eye test. I saw right off the bat, Johnny Manziel has a much stronger arm than Brian Hoyer does. I think, and this may be stretching a little bit, I think Johnny will prove to be even a little more accurate than a very accurate Brian Hoyer usually is. And obviously, Johnny Manziel is far more athletic and far more elusive than Brian Hoyer. And Johnny Manziel showed once again he is a rare, creative playmaker. So, while Brian Hoyer was pretty good, because he's always pretty good, Johnny showed me right away he's going to be real good because he already has very good command of a brand new offense that's night and day from what he ran in college football. And he already showed me that he has a lot of pocket poise. And I'm going to throw it out one more time for those who have forgotten this or never heard this. At Texas A&M last year, among power conference quarterbacks, Johnny Manziel completed 73.5% of his pocket passes. #1 among power conference quarterbacks because this kid can throw darts out of the pocket. And when he set his feet and threw out of the pocket on Saturday night, I saw that. So, Brian Hoyer had 2 big drops by his first-team receivers, one by Miles Austin, then one in the end zone by Josh Gordon. But Johnny also got victimized by 2 drops by undrafted free agent receivers. One, unfortunately, from Vanderbilt University, but I won't mention that. Okay. And my point is, Johnny with the backups. Johnny's backup offensive line was mostly getting annihilated by 5-man pressure from Detroit's backups. And despite all that, I thought he played a little better than even Brian Hoyer, the incumbent starter, albeit coming off his ACL reconstruction. But Johnny showed me not only that he's earned the start against Washington on Monday Night Football and RG3 coming up a week from tonight, but I think if I'm the head coach, I already know in my heart of hearts who my starting quarterback is going to be. It's going to be that little man from Texas A&M.
Well, that's because you're biased and you have absolutely no objectivity when it comes to Johnny Manziel. Let's be clear.
Maybe I have maybe I'm the only one with objectivity.
No, I will tell you this. You know, he clearly was a bit more nimble. There's no doubt about that. Was significantly more nimble than Hoyer. Got a live arm, had pocket presence. All of those things were true, what I saw from Johnny Manziel. But at the same time, it's not like anybody really stood out head and shoulders above the other. The thing for me is that I want to see Johnny Manziel in against the starters. I want to see what he does. Okay. He was playing against backups, all right? Let's put that in its proper perspective. Let's put in its proper perspective that because they're backups, the likelihood of you being as evasive may not be there because there's a lot more speed with those starters. There's a lot more speed on this NFL level, and we will see. So I'm looking forward
remember, he's playing with backups,
I understand that. But what I'm saying to you is that he was also playing against backups. Okay. Let's put it in its proper context. Does that mean that Johnny Manziel doesn't deserve to be the starter? Of course not. Does it mean he won't start on opening day? Of course not. I'm not trying to imply any such thing. I'm simply saying it's the first preseason game, and it was against backups. Can we pump our brakes, calm down just a little bit here? No. Don't wear the pom-poms just yet. No. Let's see what the man does.
Did Johnny stink it up?
No.
In his debut?
Not at all.
Did he stink it up? He did not.
Not at all.
Would you give him a B for that performance?
Yes, I would.
Yes,
Plus,
I would.
There were receivers dropping passes.
Thank you.
Plus, he had pocket presence. He was evading the rush. He was scrambling. He was moving the chains. I think when you see Johnny Manziel do that and you know that he has that capability, obviously that appears to be more attractive than Hoyer. But I saw Hoyer throw some really good passes as well. I was impressed with how he was throwing the football. I just don't think he's the playmaker that Johnny is. But again, it's the first preseason game. Let's see what the man has when he's going in against starters, playing with starters, but going against starters too.
Okay, fair enough. But now that you have questioned my objectivity on Johnny Manziel, I'm going to be painfully objective from this point forward, okay? Couple of things.
Sure.
#1, what is Kyle Shanahan trying to do to Johnny Manziel? Is he trying to give him the RG3 treatment? Because I'm here to point out, and I know you watched a lot of Johnny at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Did Johnny run the read option at Texas A&M? Did they call plays in which he did the ride and decide with his tailback? No. They didn't call any running plays for Johnny, unless maybe it's some bootleg just to get a few yards, just to keep the defense honest.
Okay.
He's not a read option quarterback. Let's not, God help us all, confuse him with Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow needed the read option. That made Tim Tebow what he was. And I said that again and again and again on this show. You had to let Tim do the ride and decide. Either pull it back and run with it or pull it back and throw it. Tim needed that threat. Johnny does not need that threat. So what is Kyle Shanahan doing on the first 3rd and short, having him run the read option? Johnny doesn't run it. I think it might have been the first time I've ever seen him run it before. And he said, well, with Terrence West, that kid, and I like that kid. He's got a lot of talent, but they haven't run a lot of read option together, and they missed their mesh point. Johnny's like, uh-oh, do I keep it?
That's because you got Johnny out of his element. That's not what he does.
Okay, so what's Kyle Shanahan doing? Because I don't want to see called running plays for Johnny Manziel. He runs enough on his own. You know that he
Well, maybe it's a
plays.
decoy. Maybe it's a decoy because you know. But what I mean by that is because you know what he's capable of with his legs. Maybe the mentality is if I give the impression that we're considering running him with the football, using the read option, that it can throw defenses off. That's all. He may have no intention whatsoever of having Johnny out there trying to run the football from that scheme.